Yeah, they're all your implements.
All my
Gauntlet.
disgusting torture implements, yeah. I already busted into the earwax last night. I had to actually enjoy some cheesy poofs because they're going to be fucking disgusting.
And I say you had a ramen last night, but you gotta have another one for the bug section.
The bugs. I do.
But you guys talked about ramen for bugs.
Oh, did we? Well, there we go. Wormy ramens. Wormy bugs. So, I mean, you did a lot of the sorting. What's your verdict? Is it like gross level?
There's different categories. Do you think to read the categories to you?
Oh, God. Well, it's boogers, farts.
There really wasn't much booger to be had.
Okay.
Honestly. There wasn't much booger to be had. But. So there's farts and poop. Decent amount of farts and poop.
Mm-hmm.
So there's earwax.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of pus and fungus.
Oh, pus and fungus.
Pee.
Pee. Yeah.
And then the bugs.
Oh, no. Hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. Nice hairs. I appreciate that. Nobody ever gives the entirety of all of my individual hairs a compliment. It's usually nice hair, meaning that the total is appreciated, but you appreciate the hairs. And I like that. I like that. It's a good day? Good. Yeah. You had a good day coming because you had a bad day the other day. So good days are good. I'm crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to think of an argument against that, but I don't think there is one. I think I am a little crazy. I'm just feeling good today. Cool. No electricity in some country? Question mark? Huh? You talking about like the blackouts in Europe and stuff? That was pretty crazy. What even caused that shit? They said it was a solar flare, I think, is the excuse that they gave. Is that even a thing? I guess it is. I guess a solar flare could knock out like a whole swath of the planet. Would that be permanent? No, but it would probably blow out a lot of transformers and require a whole lot of work to get everything running again. Is it Istanbul or Constantinople? Is it Istanbul or Constantinople? Is it Istanbul or Constantinople? I'll tell you what, you guys rename it to Constantinople, and I'll come and check it out. I'm not real interested in seeing Istanbul, but Constantinople? I kind of want to see Constantinople. Well, white skin in linen, perfume on my wrist, and a voice that moves like dreams in the mist. These dreams go on when I close my eyes. Every second of the night, I live another life. That's a good song. View of the background. There you go. Is that good enough? Nice pines, yeah. Piles and piles of red cedar. Location acquired. Who else up playing with their worm, bro? Shut up. No. Bad boy. Is that indica or sativa? As far as I know, both. It's a hybrid. Like most weeds nowadays. You have to pay fees if you own land in the USA. Yeah, they're called property taxes. And yes, you do have to pay them. Who said I have a BWC? Who said this? I might be surprised. I might be like Quentin downstairs.
How'd you feel about that twist?
That Quentin has no dick.
Yeah.
And that he is who we thought he was from the jump. It was a very nip-tuck twist. You actually never own land unless you have a special title. The title? You have an SWC? That sounds like projection, homeboy. You've got an SWC. Don't project your fucking insecurities onto me, okay? Did the Native Americans not understand the concept of owning land? I think so, yeah. If I called you fat, would it still be projecting? No, that one would be okay. Because I'm fat. You know what I'm talking about? The vape effect. What is the vape effect, bro? How loony is Scientology? Pretty loony. Loonier the longer you're in it. Loonier and more expensive the longer you're in it. Do you think we've ruined the planet too much to go back to a more primitive lifestyle? For us, probably, yeah. I think human beings are pretty much cooked. But you know, small groups of us might survive the coming collapse and huddle away somewhere, and we might get a second crack at it. But most of us are full-blown doomed. Yeah, I think humans are going to tear the planet apart, trying to scrabble for pieces of it as it collapses, and that's going to make it kind of tough. What is that? Sounds like a vibration saw. Back on the Bubblicious grape vape. Yep. I don't know how many days has it been, baby. 6, something like that.
I think, yeah, it's been longer than that. I'm trying to remember.
I'm doing all right. They are monitoring you. They're monitoring us all, friend. The great eye stares. What's the temp? I would guess somewhere in the mid to high 50s right now. Crappies are spawning. I like crappie. I like fishing for crappies. Do I live in the woods? What do you think, boss? I bet if you took a guess, you'd guess right. We need to see your dad, Paul, when he is at your place. We need to see what old Paul will look like. I don't know if my dad's going to want to show his face or even do a show. I refuse to pressure the old man. The old man is 70, and he's been through a lot in the last couple of years, and the old man may not be feeling up to dealing with people's bullshit. Now, of course, I would never let him sit here and, like, read the chat. I will be filtering if he does appear, but whether or not he actually wants to appear on the camera is a different question entirely. Has TJ and Scotty met him? Nope.
Yeah, I don't think you were on good terms with them pretty much from the jump when they met you.
Yeah, he and I were on pretty bad terms for most of the time I've been associated with TJ and Scotty. And yeah, they've never met him.
Forget, how many shots did you have before reconciling with him a few years ago?
What do you mean?
I remember the drinking contest, you had to, like,
Oh.
reconcile with your dad or drink.
5 shots. It was after I'd already had about 10 shots.
Yeah.
And it was 5 shots, 5 full shots worth of vodka, and then a bunch of other crap. I had to, like, chug a beer right after or some shit. It was garbage.
Because weren't ready yet.
There was no way it was going to happen anyway. with me calling him in the middle of the fucking day, drunk off my ass. That's just not the way you do it.
The furries thing, I feel like you could have done it with your mom explaining the furries.
I could have, but it would have been so hard. It was easier to just slam the drinks. Vaping is not good, bro. Jesus, you people never stop.
You can't win with them.
You can't win. Dude, I used to be out here ripping fucking half a pack of darts every show, and people would give me shit for that. Now I vape, and they give me shit for that. Average Discord mod. I mean, you would know you're the average Discord fucking member. It takes the average Discord member to recognize the average Discord mod, doesn't it? What is toxic masculinity? I think toxic masculinity, if such a concept exists, is the kind of like misogynistic masculinity, right? This idea that like women are inferior, that men are better than women off rip at everything, blah blah blah, that sort of thing. But I'm kind of the mind that the term toxic masculinity doesn't really apply. I just think it's toxic people saying toxic shit, right? I don't think it needs to be. So are you now in contact with most of your family? I guess, yeah. I mean, in contact, sure, yeah. I'm not. I don't think I'm like avoiding anybody. Also, that men have to hold in their feelings, do they? Fragile masculinity is definitely a thing. Yeah, well, male fragility. Yeah, yeah. If you've got like a real easily bruised male ego or whatever, but that's not the same thing. Ugh. That definitely happens for sure. There's definitely some dudes out there that like their whole sense of self crumbles if people don't go along with whatever they think they are. What are your opinions on the male loneliness epidemic? Look at males. I mean, like, at a certain point, I feel like you've got to stop trying to complicate everything. Look at males right now, dude. They're goofy looking. They're kind of stupid. You know, these things traditionally are not things that women are super into. So then you've got like the kind of people are staying home later. Like for better or for worse, fair or not, women are usually, well, I mean, not just women, just romantic partners are usually not attracted to somebody who's still living at home with their mom. That's typically kind of suspect in general. No, see, I think you're trying to overcomplicate it. I don't think it has anything to do with testosterone levels. I'm not with all that. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's 100% that men of the last couple of generations are not really meeting the criteria that women want, by and large. A lot of men are falling short. Like, there's some pretty fucking standard truths in the world, right? And these things can have outliers, right? I'm not saying everything is this way. But if you were to take women as a whole and go like, what are they looking for in a male partner? right? And we're just talking about that now. We'll talk, it often can go the same way with gay people as well, but let's just talk about heterosexual relationships, which I think would probably be the core of the male loneliness epidemic. Why can't dudes pull chicks anymore, right? Women kind of deciduously look for stability. That is just part and parcel of being a woman. They want stability. They want somebody that is strong and capable, somebody that can take care of themselves, somebody that brings home the bacon, all of these terms, right? How much stability are you going to have when the dude that's trying to date you has a Naruto figure collection and still lives in the back corner of his mom's house in a refinished garage and has no job and spends 12 to 18 hours a day online, right? Like, people want to overcomplicate the male loneliness epidemic, but it is not a complicated thing. That's why men are lonely, because they don't do anything anymore. They don't go out anymore. They don't learn how to fucking spit game anymore. Like, do you think dudes are just born knowing how to spit game? Do you think that's the case? Because it's not true. You got to go out there and try and spit game and fail a few times, right? You got to like socialize and watch how other people spit game. You know, like, men are just not able to hold up their end of the bargain anymore. And so there's an epidemic of single ass men. Women also look after men who make 60 figures. 60 figures? I think you're talking about six figures, but yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, are there women that have unrealistic expectations? Yes.
There are men with unrealistic expectations.
Are there men with unrealistic expectations that grew up looking at airbrushed porn stars? Absolutely. Does that explain the loneliness epidemic? No. Game is a big part of it. I've had some schlubby friends with hot girlfriends. Dude, I'm a perfect example of that, bro. I've been pretty schlubby my whole life, and I've just dated beautiful women my whole life. Because I've got a good personality, because I know how to talk to people, and because I'm self-sufficient. That's helped a lot as well.
Here's what I'd have to ask you. So, like, there's the theory that, we seek out our parents and partners. Guys seek out their moms in some way, and women seek out their dads in some way.
As a generalized rule, sure.
As, more people grew up with absent fathers, do you think that's part of the loneliness epidemic, that women don't have as many, like, male templates to look for?
Oh, sure. And, well, not only that, but men don't have as many male templates to look up to.
Yeah.
So all these things I'm talking about here, like being self-sufficient, being a kind of a self-driven individual, those things have to be learned. And if you don't have a man in your life, if you are a man and you don't have a man to look at in your immediate life that is doing those things, like, who's going to, unless you've got a really great mom that makes sure she is involved in your life and make sure that there are other men that you can look up to, that she puts you adjacent to. Yeah. But even then, you can't replace a father. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to play a role in it. Yeah. But look at the economic situation. No, I get it. I get it. I'm not trying to say that I don't understand why people are staying home longer. I'm just saying one of the consequences of that is that people are not attracted to a mate that doesn't have their own. It's kind of as old as the fucking hills, right?
And, in cultures where it's a little more common to stay longer, they're usually still working. They're not just sitting at home. They're working, and then eventually the expectation is that they work enough to support their parents.
Right.
And then the paradigm shifts in the home.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not at all super a huge fan of the American hard ass way of just booting a kid out when they're 18. Now it happened to me,
Mhm.
you know, and you just kind of chose it.
Yeah.
But and we both did okay.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Despite how hard it was for us, we both did okay. We made our way through it, and I think we learned a lot by doing it. That's just the way things have to be in our society, right? If things were different, and there are different societies all over the world that have these kind of multi-generational households where it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, there's a lot of multi-generational households in the U.S. too.
true. But, you know, I mean,
The expectation is still that you work so that you can
right,
eventually flip the script,
right.
and like if your mom's still living with you, you're taking care of her
Hmm.
and stuff.
Or you're contributing to the wider
Yeah.
household
Yeah.
when you can, as soon as you're old enough to do that, right? That's usually the expectation. And that doesn't really fit what I'm talking about, right?
Mhm. You're talking about people that just stay with their mom and
Yeah.
they're not working.
They stay with their mom because they have no choice,
Yeah.
because they can't or won't keep a job, and they have no prospects of ever moving out of their mother's, and they still live in the same room that they lived in when they was a little kid, and like this has become all too common. There's a housing crisis in Ireland, chum. There's a housing crisis here, chum. We can't get houses either.
And it seems like the crash that people have hoped for isn't. It's not the same situation as
No.
2008. They're expecting that it's gonna maybe raise prices are gonna go up another 20% over the next 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make
It's
it even more unaffordable.
it's basically the days of average people owning a home are pretty much numbered in this country. This is the last couple of generations that'll even be adjacent to it. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Winter of civilization. Just the winter of this cycle of civilization, bro.
And like rent isn't going up as fast as it was, but it's still going up. And it's like as ridiculous as rent prices are now, they're often lower than what the mortgage price would be if you got a
Yeah.
house today now.
Yeah. That's just going to keep creeping up.
Yeah.
The price of rent is going to keep creeping up. The price of ever owning a house is going to keep going up beyond
Yeah.
what people can do.
It used to be the opposite. It used to be that, like, you rent, but you know that your rent is probably more than you'd pay for a mortgage if you could pay for a down payment. Now, not really.
I mean, there is hope, I think, a small amount of hope, but only short-term hope for people who right now are kind of ready to look and buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
That the kind of instability that Trump has fomented in the economy creates a generalized collapse into recession that temporarily brings down housing.
Yeah, because people are trying to cash out to survive, basically.
Right. Because there are a lot of companies, right, that are not very cash liquid, that have a lot of their stake wrapped up, a lot of their liquidity wrapped up in these multiple houses, sometimes whole neighborhoods owned by banks or rental organizations, right? And if that were to happen, if the economy really does move towards a legit recession like 2008 recession, then you will see the price of everything. But you'll also see wages and employment fall through the fucking
so you gotta
floor
be
as
lucky
well.
enough to not be one of the people that's laid off or have your hours cut.
Right. So if you are a person who right now is making enough money to live and save some, but not enough money to purchase a house, and you're actively kind of looking and hoping to do that within the next 5-10 years, there may be a window in the next couple of years where you get to do that, right? Where you might be able to scoop a house for something semi-reasonable as this huge kind of sell-off happens. But that will be just like it was in 2008, right? I walked through that keyhole in 2008. I was working at Starbucks. My ex-wife was just out of college and had just started what would be her career. So we were not making a ton of money, but we were making enough money that we were socking money away every month because our expenses were low. And we started looking for a house right around the time of that crash. And we were able to purchase a house for, at that time in 2008, about $180,000 that's worth over $700,000 now, right? So you get the idea of the purchasing power, but that was just a short window. That was like 2008 to about mid 2009 is when those prices remained low. So, that's how that works.
Yeah, even like the starter things, like the manufactured home parks, a lot of them have been ratcheting up their lot rent to where you're basically paying as
Oh, yeah.
much as you would a regular house.
Well, just because they can, just because there's such a gulf between that and renting a home or renting an apartment,
Yeah.
and they're just looking at the money and going like, why are we not
Yeah.
scraping some of that money?
Yeah. Or like if you buy a manufactured home, you might still be paying like about the same as if you were doing a mortgage on a regular home, which is still a lot of rent.
Yeah, the only, and I mean only way that for a normal average fucking person to get a home right now in this economy, in my opinion, is to well, there's two ways. Number one, sign yourself a fucking devil's bargain of a mortgage, cross your fingers and hope you don't go underwater for the rest of your life. Two, buy a patch of completely unimproved land and go through all of the fucking bullshit and buy yourself a fucking pre-built prefab home. And even that, because of the additional cost of improving the land, you're still going to be pushing it. So it's really just not attractive.
Yeah, and the costs of buying a fixer-upper now are kind of making it unfeasible to do that route.
Yeah.
Like it costs way more now to make a fixer-upper livable.
I was scrolling through shorts last night, and it was this couple that like they've got a channel where their whole thing is they go to these $1 million or more valuations in Southern California. They do open houses. They went to like I watched them walk through 4 or 5 million or multi-million-dollar homes. Our house is nicer on the inside, right? I mean, dirty, dilapidated, poorly built, shitty lot, $1 million because it's in fucking Glendale or some shit.
And then a lot of the homes that are priced lower, they want cash out. And that's the only thing they'll accept is a full cash offer.
Which, who has that?
Yeah.
Is it just a sales pitch for their house? No, I don't own my house. I rent the house that I live in. You mistake me, sir. You think I'm talking about other folks? I don't own a home anymore. I got divorced, and that house went to the ex, and I got nothing.
You got a condo.
I got a condo out of it, and the condo is now gone, too. How about that?
Do you ever wish you kept it longer? Or you just needed to sell it when you sold it?
It was a constant nagging problem at the back of my mind, and had I held on to it, I think I might not have been able to do what I was able to do. I was able to move out of Texas to Bellevue, Washington on the most shoestring of shoestring budgets that I've ever lived under in my entire fucking life, period. And had I had that extra fucking oopsie expense of them calling me up and needing $200 for a toilet or some shit, I'd be fucked. So I had to dump it when I did. I made the right decision to get rid of it when I did and how I did. But had I held on to it, it'd be a nice little fucking nest egg for us now. But it probably would have cost me my opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's one of them things, you can't regret every decision you made. You got to try and put yourself back in the shoes you were in at the time. Do you make money on the condo? Yeah. Not much, but yes. I ended up selling the condo for about double what I paid for it, give or take, after fees. So that helped a lot.
You sweet Peter. You sweet.
It's like, I got up with Dad for like 3 hours at 3 a.m. Tell a dad joke. Oh man, I had a good one the other day. I have a long dad joke, but I don't know that I want to tell it. It's not super long, but Andy. The ping pong ball joke, yeah. I don't think that's a dad joke. That's a full anti-joke, and that's a full performance piece. You can't just do that. Would you buy a big house for cheap if it was haunted? Abso-fucking-lutely. I don't give a fuck. I don't get, like, I like the idea of spooky things, but I'm not actually, like, worried that spooky shit is real.
But what if the haunted is actually just it falling apart at the seams and it becomes
So, like, the money trap?
Yeah, or are we done yet?
Yeah. Oh, well, then I guess that
like
sucks.
all the whistling and the things falling open and stuff is just
falling
apart.
It's just a ratty fucking house. Yeah, that would suck. Ghosts are usually pretty chill in all the documented cases. Old people chilling on the couch. There ain't no documented case of ghosts. Ain't no such goddamn thing. So yes, I would buy a murder house. I'd buy
probably what a lot of the stories are, honestly, though, is the house is falling apart a little bit.
Yeah, it's creaking and groaning at night.
Yeah. All the door hinges are worn out and they just fly open.
Yeah.
Stiff breeze.
Would you take the title of modern philosopher? I am an inclusionist. I believe that everyone is a philosopher or no one is. I don't think philosopher is a title that's bestowed upon you. I believe it is a title that describes a person who has a personal life philosophy. And everybody, even the people that don't ever think about their own personal life philosophy, has a personal life philosophy and can discuss it. So everyone is a philosopher. Yes. Yeah. The kind of school of philosophy was not started by educated men. And education was different under the philosophical tradition. So yeah, everybody is a philosopher or nobody is, right? Just gave a philosopher's answer. Well, sorry. I mean, I studied philosophy. You know what I mean? Not like intensely, but you know. I'll go for the nobody. Don't want to give too much credit to some people. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Any overrated philosophers? Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson come to mind. Have you peed in a bottle on the road? Hell yeah. But dude, I peed in the bottle with Amelia when we were on our way back from Louisiana to
Although I
move
tried
to
to
California.
tell you to just go in the women's restroom.
No.
You had a thing about it.
Well, because you'd had a whole fucking ordeal in there.
Yeah.
Like the men's room, somebody blew it up.
Yeah.
And the women's room was all fucking packed out and there were people waiting. and I had to pee. And so I was just like, all right, I tell you what, babe, just hold up this coat. I got a fucking Gatorade bottle and I did my business. Threw it away in the trash. On we went. I've done it multiple times, bro. You ever dropped an upper decker at a party? No, that's sociopathy, bro. That's fucked up. You don't drop an upper decker, bro. Ever. Favorite philosopher? Well, my personal like favorite philosopher is named Derek Jensen. And he's alive too, so that's kind of cool. You can still see videos and stuff of him. He's a little bit of he's a radical eco-feminist. Yeah, I guess is how you would describe him. And I love listening to him talk. If you want to check out Derek Jensen, watch, and it's free on YouTube. You can find the whole thing. He did a big lecture series called Endgame, which was based around his book of the same title, which is also a really good read. But yeah, Endgame, Derek Jensen. Never heard of an eco-feminist. Well, it's just like a combination of two ideologies, right? So he's a radical ecological advocate and a radical feminist as well, right? And then it gets kind of truncated to eco-feminist. So it's not really a...
It's not a branch of feminism, I don't think.
It
Maybe
is.
yeah.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of crossover in left-wing politics. It's a lot of, what do they call it? Intersectionality. People love to put themselves into categories. Yes. Yes. There's a very social aspect to the categorization of people, and it's why you see people taking so much pride in things like their diagnosis or their gender or their sexual orientation. It's one of the reasons for that, right? Is that it is a community building exercise to join with people that share a label with you, right? It makes you feel warm and fuzzy. Postmodernism sucks. Yeah. I suppose if you look at it through one lens, postmodernism is kind of fucked up. But, you know, classical modernism was kind of fucked up as well, you know? So let's be real here. You ever have a friend that always pisses people off and is always getting into fights, and the common denominator is them, and they just can't realize it? I feel like a lot of people that are really at odds with postmodernist philosophy and the postmodernist kind of like zeitgeist that we're existing in, I think a lot of those people are just incapable of adapting, right? So the common denominator, the problem is not society. Society is always moving. Ideas are always changing, and roles are always being redefined, right? So it's you, right? They are wankers. I mean, I know I'm not trying to point the finger, you know, I'm not trying to indict you personally. I really don't care if you live in cognitive dissonance or what, but you have to be honest. Like, there's a lot of people that are doing just fine with postmodernism, and you have decided, right, that you're just not gonna. Well, the problem is you. You know, unless you can point to society that never changed. You know, point to a historical civilization that never changed. It didn't change its structure and its systems and its values over the course of its existence. Problem is that the values have changed. Sure, yeah, and you have not adapted to the updated values system, right? Because you believe that the value system that you were raised under is the greatest and most immutable value system, and you feel that society as a whole should regress its values to suit your particular taste, right? What if the new value system is a death cult? What if the old value system is a death cult? Ever think about that? How many millions of people were sent to die under the old value system? How many monuments have we built to them, and how worshipped were they? You know what I mean? We could we could dig into that, you know what I mean? We can learn from the past to improve the future. Right now we just make the same old mistakes with a new outlook. That's an interesting way of thinking about it. It's an interesting perspective. I don't know that I agree with it in totality, but oh, D, what do you think? What do you think about that one? Faustian culture, huh? This is starting to sound like some crazy Christian conspiracy stuff, man. We're starting to get there. We're starting to go down the Alex Jones rabbit hole, I think. There you go, D. In you go, bro. Before I get too deep, shove me into shallow waters before I get too deep. I'm not aware of too many things. I know what I know, if you know what I mean. Philosophy comes off the top of a cereal box. Religion is a smile and a veil. I'm not aware of too many things. I know what I know, if you know what I mean. Shove me into shallow water before I get too deep. There's a lot of people out there that should listen to that song. I can't remember who even sings that song. Isn't that fucked up? Joan Osborne? Is that who it is? Probably not. It might be Joan Osborne. CIA hide? Why does the CIA hide anything? They're a clandestine organization. Their trade is secrets. They keep everything secret. In the specific case of their LSD experiments, I think that the point of the experiments is ludicrous. And I think that the experiments were roundly failures and tantamount to just kind of like torturing human beings. So that's probably why they kept them secret for so long. Yes, that's what I meant. The point was brain control. The ultimate point of the MK Ultra program was to attempt to see if psychological programming was possible, i.e., the creation of an agent that has no will, right? A puppet. How would you reform gun law? Have you talked about a way of going about it? Yeah, man. A lot of people I think assume that I'm a collect all the guns and stuff guy. I'm not. I grew up around guns. And as a result of growing up around guns, I have a respect for the power of guns and I know how to handle guns safely. And that's all I think needs to be required. It's like when you're 16 years old in this country, or 18, depending, I guess, you go and you take your driver's test, right? And what that is meant to do is it's meant to be some sort of stopgap that says, like, here's this dangerous piece of machinery, and you are going to prove that you have the wherewithal to handle this dangerous piece of machinery and that you're not a hazard to have this dangerous piece of machinery, right? And so you get a driver's license. I think that the same should be said for guns, right? I think that there should be no problem with there being paperwork on every gun transfer and gun licensure for every firearm that somebody owns. There are people with paranoid reasons to resist such a thing, but I think that knowing how a gun got into somebody's hands is the most important thing. And attempting to stop guns from getting into the hands of crazy, retarded kids that go to school and shoot it up, et cetera, is, yeah. You can't bet on the masses to be educated, though. Well, sure, but, I think driver's licensure has worked for quite some time, right? Are there going to be idiots? Yeah, but you know what happens to those idiots when they transgress? They lose their license, and they're no longer allowed to have a driver's license or drive a car. You see what I mean? Then you've got a method by which to make sure that people that shouldn't have their hands on weapons don't. Yeah, there's lots of accidents every day. And if the people that are in those accidents, right, are found negligent, the people don't have accidents going forward or aren't allowed to put themselves in the position to have accidents, right? Yeah. But okay, so you bring up a good point, Bloody Back. Kids steal cars without a license, though. Same with guns. So one of the things that you would learn in this theoretical gun licensing program that you would go through before you purchase your first gun at whatever age, right, is how to properly store a weapon, right? So it's not just laying out underneath your pillow at night, right? Or sitting in a fucking drawer that a thief could go through and get, right? So if your gun is stolen, you report it stolen to the police. The police are going to come investigate that theft, right? And if they don't see a gun safe that's been meticulously drilled open, they're going to ask you, how was this weapon secured? And if you tell them the weapon was unsecured completely, then your fucking gun license just got a point on it. It's kind of utopic. Really? I really don't see how that's utopic. I just really don't see it. You know what I mean? It seems like pretty standard, pretty easy stuff to comply with for any adult that has lived in the United States. You know how to jump through the hoops to get a fucking apartment. You know how to jump through the hoops to get your driver's license renewed, to get your fucking, you know what I mean? To get your car registration renewed, pay your taxes, right? This is nothing anywhere near as complicated as even that. Well, sure, there's going to be people that don't follow it, but then you have a method by which. So let's say that somebody decides, fuck that, I'm going to buy myself a fucking gun. A person goes out, right, and shoots somebody. Then the cops have a method by which to trace that gun. You see what I mean? Who's the owner of this gun initially? Who's this gun licensed to? Oh, this guy. Why is this gun halfway across the country? Oh, it got stolen. You didn't report it stolen. Why? Well, because gun license, please. You know what I mean? That plugs one hole, right? Talked about it with others, but do you think gun collectors are a factor in a big way? These things shouldn't be collectibles unless it's like a musket. I don't know. I don't really have a problem with people being gun collectors as long as they're willing to demonstrate that they keep those guns secured. If I'm their neighbor, there's a very little chance that they're going to have a misfire that sends a 45 slug through my fucking wall, right? And noodles me or my pet or my wife, right? Just reasonable assurance that that gun collector knows what the fuck they're doing with each of those weapons, right? And is responsible for each of those weapons. Personally, accountable for what happens with those weapons. No more of these crying parents on the news going, oh, how can this happen? When their kid gets a hold of a weapon. Anybody whose child, toddler or otherwise, gets a hold of a weapon and does something with it, accidentally or otherwise, should never own a firearm again in their life, period. You have demonstrated that you are a danger to society, and your license to have guns is revoked. You commit a violent felony with a gun, revoked. Then you're caught with a gun in the future, you're an automatic felon. And whoever sold you the gun is an automatic felon. You see what I mean? You're creating this trail by which we can start to address some of the problems that are existent in this country when it comes to the free and open exchange of guns. How would your ideal relation between states and the federal government be? Under the current system, I think a strong federal government and weak state governance. You know, I think that's about right. Under the current system, if we're just going to talk about that going on in perpetuity. You would need so much police for this. You guys are defunding it. Who do you think you guys are, Andrea? We've been talking now for like almost an hour, and it seems like you think you know who I am. Who's you guys? Yeah, which police are being defunded? Because police budgets all over the nation, go look at a graph. That's what it looks like. You mean U.S. people. You don't know what's going on in the U.S. if you think the cops have been defunded. Like I said, just go look at police budgets. They are up nationwide. That's not defunding. That's hyperfunding. Dude, cops that show, if I were to call the cops for a simple fucking noise complaint or something, the person that showed up would be kitted out for fucking guerrilla warfare. You've seen how these cops roll today. strapped up 8 ways from Sunday, big fucking assault rifle and a shotgun fucking right in the middle console. You know what I'm talking about? Body armored to shit. Tactical gear. 8 different ways of fucking taking you down without killing you, and 7 different ways of doing it and killing you. You know what I mean? Where do you think the money for all that comes from? Yes, it was FBI that did Ruby Ridge, yes. Everyone points to Minneapolis where the defund thing started, but their budget is way up here. It's retarded. It's way up nationwide. And it's been way up year to year forever. There's never been, in my lifetime, I think, a true defunding of the police department since the 80s. It's all, I'll pay the cops more. More cops, more gear, more cops, more gear, more cops. Right? So don't tell me that this is not enforceable. Dude, have you ever seen these videos where, dude, I watched a video that blew my mind the other day, right? There were these, it was 3 teenagers, 2 boys and a girl. And they were sitting in Walmart on the furniture, you know, where they sell the fucking furniture in Walmart, and they've got some tables set up. They were sitting in there making a scene. And so somebody called the cops to take these kids out. Right, to get these kids off the property because they had told the manager to go fuck himself or something, right? So one cop shows up. The kids, you know, they start to comply, but they're doing what kids do. They're doing it all hella slow, right? I'm going, man. Acting like it takes 20 minutes to pick up their cell phone, right? So the cop gets frustrated. He gets on his fucking horn and goes, yeah, can you send another unit? Dude, by the time they got these 3 teenagers out of the Walmart, there were 8 cop cars. 8 cop cars. I think the cops could handle it. I think the cops could handle this new legislation just fine. Dang, not bad. Doesn't that say to you, what the fuck do we have cops hanging around for? 3 rowdy teenagers provokes a response that looked like there was a fucking shooting at the Walmart. And it was 3 irascible teenagers. 8 flatfoots. Yeah. Let's call in the National Guard. These rowdy kids in the Walmart could be dangerous. It's like, what is going on, bro? Sounds to me like the cops need something to do. How about enforcing the new gun regulations? How about making sure that everybody that's got a gun has got a license for that weapon? And the ones that don't, you pull their fucking card and put them in the database. Period. Yeah, let's give these flat feet something to do that isn't just hassling people. Yeah. We're going to need air support. Get the choppers in the air. We got ourselves a jaywalker. Roger that. I'm going to need SWAT in here. There's a little old lady who is claiming she didn't get the right amount of change, and she is refusing to leave. Copy that. SWAT engaged. It's like, what the fuck? So you might want to get rid of that defund the police narrative, Andrea. I don't think you know how it is here in the United States. Come visit sometime and you'll see. Trust me, it won't take you long. Land yourself in a nice big American city and it won't take you long to see how over-policed we are. The cops are dying for something to do. catch me on a flight for the U.S. Can't say that I blame you. But if you did, you'd have a little more insight in conversations like this, is all I'm saying. Defund the police is not a thing in the United States. And never has been, by the way. Hey, don't worry about him, Andrea. You just talk to me. Don't get baited by other people in the chat. We're having a good conversation, you and me. You know what I mean? Don't get it fucking twisted up because somebody in the chat wants attention. You're doing all right. You know, it looks like we disagree or whatever on some stuff, but we've been cordial and we're doing all right. You know what I mean? So just let it be that. Law and order is very important, but to fix crime, you read something, say something, then confront yourself. What? What are you talking about, bro? Law and order is very important, but to fix crime, you got to fight poverty. Yes, we know this. Or at least we who are channel regulars know this. We are aware. Don't worry about it, Andrea. I understand you just fine. You speak better English than most of the people that roam through here. Look in the mirror. You talk shit, sit on your porch. It's really inspiring yourself. You aren't talking to any brave. You can actually put your words into action. Little man, communication is key, bro. That was a mess of a sentence, bro. You just never learned to communicate properly, bro. You can't even get to phase one. I don't even know what your little ass is mad at, man. You can't even communicate it to me. My main language is French. Sacre bleu. Oui, absolument. Je parle souvent avec mes amis francophones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche. I remember my high school French, bro. Je voudrais une lettre fraîche, s'il vous plaît. Oh, shit. French Canadian. Bonjour, bonjour, coucou. Comment ça va? Comment ça va? Say something insulting to the stupid people here in France. Isn't it putain? Isn't that slut? Nique ta mère. Nique ta mère. That's a good one. I think that's Psycha Blyat. Paris is a literal toilet like Louisiana. Yeah, Louisiana's pretty stanky. Poulet de la crème de céleri. Ooh. Chicken with celery cream. Listening to my birdies. Nice birds. Nice bird calls today. playing Monster Hunter. Maybe. Like, I was getting kind of bored just kind of playing Monster Hunter. But maybe if I had a crew to run with. But that's the thing is like, dude, I'm very low level. You'd probably have to start over. It's just bullshit, bro. I don't have like a high level guy to run around and do high level quests with you. So probably not. Was in the French Alps a couple years ago. Amazing place. Car camped on an abandoned ski town. Neat. I'd like to visit Europe someday. It'd be cool. What you think, D? Wanna come up for some lap time? Come here. Come see me. Come see me, you big goof. Oh, you big old oaf. Oh. What do you think about these birdies today? Kind of happy with these birdies. I saw you have a stare down with the big gray squirrel over there. It was nice of you to give him a pass today. You must be feeling magnanimous today. I'm such a good boy. He's such a good boy. So fluffy and puffy. Oh, Grandpa is gonna love you, buddy. Grandpa's missing his puppy because he's been traveling. So he's gonna love having you around with your fluffy butt. Mr. Cuddles. You done? You gonna get down? Okay. Wanna go inside? Okay. There you go. There you go. What? Oh. Don't go in big cities in Europe. Lol, it's fucked up. Yeah, like I said, I feel like if you traveled in America, you'd have a different perspective on that. It might be fucked up from your perspective, but it might still be pretty chill from mine. You see what I'm saying? You know, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying like a little bit of travel through an average U.S. city might change your whole ass perspective on that shit. I don't think people understand, bro. It's filthy. Filthy, hard to get around, fucked up, half abandoned, ramshackle, plagued with crime and poverty and fucked up. That's pretty much every American city, you know, over 250,000 people. And probably every American city at 250,000 people. Most American cities fit that bill. You don't even have to go to one of the notoriously bad cities like Detroit, Spino. Go to New Orleans, big destination city. Walk around that city for a minute. Be careful and walk around it. And let me know. It's the mentality that's effed up. Oh, well, I can deal with an effed up mentality. We're talking about an effed up city. We're talking about a city that's fucked up to be in and visit. We got those in spades here in America. It don't matter where you are. The idea of a nice city is pretty much a unicorn in this country. Our cities are falling apart, stagnant, stinky, smelly, just crumbling cesspits by and large, big and small. Yikes. Yeah, the golden age of America was about 40 years ago when it came to building new things. And everything's been just kind of collapsing since then. I saw this post the other day called Stagnant Skylines. And it was 10 American cities, big American cities, with really recognizable skylines that have the exact same skyline now since 1990 or earlier. Some of them were like 1980, right? Not a single building has been built in the downtown since fucking 40 years ago, functionally. Pretty fucked up. Which sucks because we could build some dope stuff. Well, I don't mean to carry the water of China, but take a look at like Shenzhen. Just go look up Shenzhen, China, and just take a look at the skyline. Take a look at a tour of the city. Watch somebody walk around it. Shenzhen is a city that most people didn't even know existed. Most people still don't know it exists. And it outstrips pretty much every American city in terms of functionality. China is ascendant. People don't understand how important that is. It's like, what do you think was the biggest piece of symbology that America had that drew other people to it? A symbol of its wealth, its power, and its ascendancy during the golden age of America, right? Where the whole world was just dying to get here. So, a lot of the world is still dying to get here. Make no bones about it. But what's changed? The answer is functionally nothing, which is the problem. Our cities are ramshackle, run down, filled with buildings that were built in the 20s and 30s that are dilapidated and falling apart. We haven't added anything new to our skylines, right? Look at Chongqing. You know what I mean? Like, that city is fucking insane. Insane that there's a million human beings living in that city. Huge cities, tons of land with a glaring lack of public transportation. Oh yeah, our cities are just falling apart. Have you read Chris Hedges? Yes. He talks about elite institutions produce individuals that are trained to maintain current structures so they have no new ideas. Yes. Yeah. Carlin talked about this too. They don't want free thinkers that question things. They want obedient workers. That's what school is about, creating obedient workers, obedient little drones that'll nod their head and do what they're told. And both of them are absolutely correct. Do you think their cultural unification aids that at all? Absolutely. What's the American story anymore? We've lost our way. We used to be, okay, this used to be the American story, right? Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The tempest, or not tempest, the teeming refuse, or no, the wretched refuse of your teeming shores. Send these tempest-tossed to me. I light my lamp beside the golden doors. Whether we lived up to that, that was the American dream at the time when America was building shit. That was the American narrative when, at the time when America was building shit, right? What's the American narrative now? Fuck the libs. Fuck the MAGAs. Like, what is the American narrative now? What do we build? What are we making? What are we doing? Right? I mean, the answer from the outside looking in, if you listen to people that live you know, outside of America, is that we're not doing well. We don't have a story anymore. We've undermined our story. We've sold our story. We've given up what made us big and strong. We've seeded it and outsourced it. Hey, baby.
Did you want to come out again?
He just can't decide where he want to be today. Well, let's go get myself another J. Be right back. What do you think, D? Have you changed your mind or what? He can't make up his mind. He don't know what he wants to be doing right now at this moment in time. What do you think the root of racism is? The root. Fear of the other, right? In its basest form. Right? Fear of the unknown, maybe even. I think a lot of racism kind of dies when people of different races are forced to work together. And so a lot of it is probably just the unknown, right? They see things through a lens of cultural examination, and they see a cultural tradition or a cultural outcropping that they don't understand. They attribute that to all black people or all brown people or all Muslim people or all white people or whatever, right? And they go forward with that kind of fear-based assumption in their heart. I do think that poverty drives racism as well. I do think that economic disparity and racism go hand in glove. And so it's a complex topic to say what the root of it is, though. I think it's just base human fear of that which they don't know. It's tribalistic fear. You don't realize how privileged you are to live in a country like America. No, I know that I have an insane amount of privilege living in a Western first world country. Trust me, I know. But none of that changes anything that I'm talking about. The American empire and the American idea is collapsing in on itself, and I'm living through it. My life story is nothing if not watching that happen in real time, like a slow folding disaster film. So, I don't know. You know, does the fact that I'm privileged to live at this current time exclude me from talking and philosophizing about what is to come and what the cost of all this has been? Should I ignore that a country like China is outstripping America in pretty much every way that you can culturally? Should I ignore that happening? Should I ignore that their cities look like something out of Blade Runner and ours look like something out of fucking Escape from LA? Should I ignore that shit? I mean, even right-wing people are always pointing at the cities and going like, what a fucking third world, a post-apocalyptic shithole this is, right? So it seems like there's a little bit of agreement, at least, that our cities are fucked up. Is the decline of America inevitable in your opinion? Not only is it inevitable, we're living through it. We're watching it happen, right? There's going to be police and military after the collapse. Oh yeah. It'll be like a junta or a junta. No, for sure. It ain't going to be pretty. Do you know what that is? Anybody in the chat know what that was? Not an airplane. Well, not a traditional airplane.
Here, chopper over there.
That was a UAV, a big one, accompanied by a chopper. Pretty fucked up. Happens with everything, yes. Entropy is the only law, right? The only true law. Man, the birds are awesome. They're just getting better as like the weather gets less rainy and cold. You have a base near you? Yeah. A big one. Do you think about how war is going to be increasingly dehumanized over the coming decades? UAVs, drones, biological. Well, I mean, dehumanized on the perpetration front, not dehumanized on the collateral front. Having bombs dropped on you by a drone is going to have a very similar collateral effect on everybody else, right? So it's just a matter of time, you know. Drones don't leak information. Drones don't have moral compunctions. Drones don't have family at home. Drones, you know what I mean? It's just a matter of time. A lot of the warfare that America itself directly contributes to is unmanned aerial warfare. I'm talking drone strikes and drone warfare is how we project our power. On a lighter note, I'm making pancakes for dinner. Oh. Pancakes. Cool. I like that like breakfast for dinner thing every once in a while. That's like you have Brenner. I always like that. But you never go the other way though. People never go the other way. They never have breakfast. You know, they never have like a big slice of lasagna and a side salad for breakfast. It just doesn't go the other way. You know what I mean? You don't have breakfast, you hate it. Well, it's probably because you live in fucking the UK. Like, you guys eat some wild, gross shit over there, man. Dude, there's like a whole cottage industry of videos where they bring these poor little British street urchins over to America and serve them like their first Texas barbecue. And the way their poor little dirty street urchin faces light up when they eat their first like rib that has actual seasoning on it is insane. It's sad, actually. Like, food over there is just woe-begotten, man. That breakfast shit is like watery beans, disgusting blood sausage, like 8 pieces of toast. It's just gross, man. Just like, no thanks. Poor little dirty-faced, stockinged little street urchins running around eating watery beans, you know, and you give them their first little bite. Like, I remember the one that blew me away the most was they lined up these poor little Hogwarts kids, right? All of them looked like little Hogwarts kids. And they put American biscuits and country sausage gravy in front of them, right? American fluffy buttery biscuits with country white sausage gravy poured over the top, right? And they looked at it and they were like, looks quite disgusting, doesn't it? Looks disgusting, doesn't it? And they were like, oh yeah, Harry, it does look disgusting. I think so too, Hermione. Oh, shut up, Ron. You know, it was like that, right? And then they dig into it, right? And they're like, and it's like, dude, they put the bite in their mouth, and it's like it's like their eyes get a clarity. It's like all of the worry and care of their life melts away for a moment, and they're like, that's fucking delicious, isn't it? It's like they've never had salt and pepper, you know what I mean? And butter in their little poor little mouths all these years, you know? Poor little orphans, you know? Poor little orphan street urchins. Those poor unfortunate souls, so thin, so healthy. Had to teach an adult how and what to eat. Oh my God. You said you dated an English girl. I've never dated anybody that wasn't born and raised in the U.S. The closest I came was I had an ex that lived overseas for a while and was kind of fluent in the language, French in this instance, but that was the closest that I ever had, right? Still born in America, still, you know, an American, so I don't know. I don't know how I would handle that. I don't know if it would even be possible. What's your opinion on Indian food? Some of it is great, man. And some of it is just like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but some of it tastes like it was mixed up with somebody's dirty feet. That's all I'm going to say, bro. Like I've had some Indian food that was just like, oh man, mind-blowingly exquisite, and some of it just tasted like funky foot cheese, bro. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's a hit or miss type of situation. Mexican food, I agree. Mexican food is tip top. I totally fucking agree with that. And anybody that says different has never really had actual Mexican food. Like they're eating some Midwest fucking burrito joint with gross ass fucking white people Mexican food. They've never had Mexican food, right? That's the only way that anybody ever disagrees. Chinese is S tier. I don't know. Chinese is a little wild for me, bro. They eat some crazy shit over there. They'll, like suck the eyeballs out of an eel's head and shit. Go buy a whole bag of chicken feet over there and just suck all the chicken skin off the chicken foot. It's like, mmm, mmm. Italian is good, but I gotta tell you, a lot of the Italian that you get in America is just slop, bro. Like, if you can get good, fresh, traditional Italian of some variety, like, you know, somebody that's actually making some Italian dishes, you can that can be some really, I mean, you can get that, right? But most of the time when you go like, what's Italian around here? Oh, here's a place. You go in there, it's gonna be slop, bro. It's gonna be slop. So what about Spanish food? I can't say that I've probably eaten a whole lot of traditionally Spanish food. I mean, obviously Mexican food is heavily influenced by Spanish food, but you wouldn't call it Spanish food, right? Is that a vape? Somebody ban Yan W. Yan can be banned. Get him the fuck out. Every time, like, just look at his post history. Nightmare. So, like, 100% bot. Worst food? I mean, I'm gonna get a lot of bullshit for this, but if you want the real answer or do you want the bullshit answer? Because the real answer is probably gonna piss off everybody in the room simultaneously. You know what I mean? And I'm not looking to stir up everybody's emotions, you know? All right, I'm about to say it. The most overrated but actually below mid-tier food in existence today is, drum roll please, Japanese food. I'm sorry, dude. I just calls them like I sees them, dude. I just calls them like I sees them, bro. I just calls them like I sees them. I'm sorry, dude. You asked. You asked. Dude, anytime a group of people is like, oh, let's go get dinner, what does everybody want? And somebody throws out, let's go get sushi. I'm like, please, please no. How about hamburgers? No, man, we want sushi. And I know I'm just gonna feel like a psycho because I'm gonna be sitting in this whole ass restaurant with people, right? Right? Paying out the ass, loving to open up their wallet and pull out a couple $100 for like a roll of like unflavored white rice with some fish guts and seaweed in it. And they're just like, they're acting like they're eating the most delicate fucking thing in the world. They're just like cramming seaweed and raw fish eyeballs into their face. And I feel like I've gone loony, right? I feel like there must be something wrong with me because I'm not wanting to pay $70 for a roll of unflavored rice wrapped around a little sliver of avocado wrapped in seaweeds. Mm-mm. 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 There were two answers. Well, the other one's just a lie. The other one's just a lie. You know, just a complete lie. What does that one matter? I'll eat the raw fish off the top of the roll before eating the actual roll. That is fucking disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. I just feel like it's gross. I feel like it's gross and it's overpriced and weird. And like, I don't think anybody ever, like, you might leave feeling kind of full, but I feel like 20 minutes later, everybody's ready to get a pizza. So, what was the point of that whole experience, right? Everybody will start talking to you about umamis and shit. And you're just like, dude, I just want something that I can eat. You feel me? Nah, dude. Dude, let me tell you something, man. And this is like a unicorn. I used to live in a pretty bad neighborhood, right? For a lot of years, almost 10 years I lived in this neighborhood, right? Pretty run down, and it had this strip mall, okay? And the big thing in the strip mall was an Outback Steakhouse. And then it had these, like, you know what, like a seamstress and like a payday loans place, blah, blah, blah. One of these little strip mall stores was an Italian place, okay? And me and my ex went there because we were just like, oh, we live like walking distance from this little Italian place. Chances are it's gonna suck, but let's go try it. I gotta tell you, everything in that place was top fucking notch. 100%. No matter what you got off that menu, it was gonna be fresh and made with absolute skill, and it was all very traditional Italian shit. Dude, that place was like it was like a secret. It was so sad because it was such a small place. We never had trouble getting in. There were always, you know, some people knew about it. Obviously, they were staying afloat, but it's like, you know, nobody knows about this place. It's blowing doors on the place that people are coming over here for. You know, all these idiots are going into the Outback Steakhouse, and literally right behind it, tucked into this little nook next to a fucking payday loan place, is like the best Italian food in town. Is it still open? Nope. Nope. I looked into it actually. It closed down for COVID and never reopened. Wah, 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 wah. Same story as pretty much every other good fucking restaurant. Dude, can I tell you guys something? Let me ask you guys a general question. How do you feel about Red Robin? What's the thought process on Red Robin? How are we feeling about Red Robin? Decent? Good but overhyped? Pretty good but overrated? Good ass burger? Bottomless fries? I agree. Bro, me and Amelia, the other day, we were out and about doing a bunch of errands. We saw a Red Robin. We were hungry. We're like, you want to pop in and get a burger? Yeah. Popped in the Red Robin, right? I ain't even going to lie to you guys. We got slop. It was a slop Robin. It was slop. I've never gone to a Red Robin and gotten slop, dude. But it was there was no other way to put it. It was slop. Soggy. Yeah, soggy, overcooked. How much did I spend? I mean, whatever it takes to buy 2 burgers at a Red Robin, probably $50. It was slop. I got the Beyond Burger with the scorpion. It was the hot one that's supposed to come with, like, you know, jalapeno discs on it and a sauce, right? And I got the fries, and then Amelia got, I can't even remember what Amelia got, but it was slop too. Oh, she got fish and chips, and it was slop. Slop and slop. But my food bills are insane. Dude, I don't eat out all that often. My food bills are probably close to they're probably less than most people's food bills because it's just me and my wife here. Like, we don't have a whole ass fucking household. What? Best dish you make? Anything barbecue, like, you give me any piece of meat and access to a little Weber grill with some charcoal, and I will make that shit sing, bro. So I'm really good at doing meat on the grill of any kind of type. So whatever, pick your poison. You know what I mean? From simple shit like sausages to, getting up a tri-tip and doing slow and low cooking, and or whatever your poison. You want some good ass fucking charcoal kissed burgers? I can kill that, right? That's my home base dish, but there's not like a singular dish in there that I would say is like my best or whatever. I'm just blessed with the meat skills. Yes, I can do steak like a dude. You give me a cut of filet mignon and I will make the best fucking filet you've ever had in your life. 100%. Oh, nice. Nice hostility. I like it. My brisket game, bro. Killer. Killer. Give me any fucking cut of meat, bro. I just have a thing for it, bro. I know how to do it. I have had lingua prepared before. I don't know that I would be able to make a good ass lingua. How you feel about marinating in Italian dressing? Basic bitch. Basic ass white woman chicken breast dinner. That's what it makes me think of. It can be done okay, but that's what it makes me think of. What should you do? I mean, what? So are you making some baked chicken breasts for steak? Oh, what cut? What cut of steak are you using? The answer is probably gonna be you don't need to marinate a steak. I don't marinate a steak. No, you don't. A marination of a steak is for a traditionally tough cut. So if you've got something like a fillet, right? Yeah, she's gonna go check. You don't marinate a steak. I'll tell you how to do a steak. It's not hard. It's just multi-part, right? So I'm gonna wait till Google gets back. She's gonna tell me what cut of steak she's got, and I'm gonna tell her how she's gonna cook it up. Now, if you got a tough cut, like I don't know, like a lower quality, mid quality New York strip, marinade can be okay, but I prefer basting 100% of the time over marinade. I prefer basting over low heat 100% of the time over marinade on a good cut of beef, right? Chicken is different. Some olive wood to burn underneath, salt and rosemary, and it's golden. I mean, you're in the right fucking wheelhouse. You're in the right wheelhouse. So you got a New York strip. Okay. Here's how you're going to do a New York strip. Okay. You're going to take your meat. Do you have access, Ghoul, to a cast iron pan? A lot of people do. A lot of people don't. Are you working with a cast iron pan? Who taught me to cook steak? My mom. And well, my mom and my cousins and stuff. Like my whole family is very cookout obsessed. So if you got a cast iron skillet, step one is complete. If not, step one is gonna. Oh, there's our little black squirrel doing his thing. Oh well, there. No, okay, that's fine. You are gonna need to put a sear on that steak. We do, but you'll need to clean and reseason. Okay, well, you might want to do that, but let's assume that you don't want to do that. So you've got what, what kind of pan are we working with here? What kind of frying pan? You got just a non-stick frying pan? I don't believe a pure white boy can cook steak all that well. Well, hear me out. Wouldn't a grill be better? I mean, yeah, but I'm assuming that from the whole marinade thing that Ghoul is gonna be cooking in her kitchen. Okay, use your stainless steel pan for this. Okay, you're gonna put a little bit of butter down in the pan. That's it. You're not gonna season the steak at all at this point. Okay, because you're gonna just burn your seasonings. You are going to lay that steak, get that pan screaming hot. And you are going to lay that steak in the pan. For a New York strip, you're talking about a thin cut of meat, so you don't want to burn it, right? But you are going to get a sear on that strip. Okay, so you got a nice browning. Won't the butter burn? The butter will burn if you're searing it off, right? So you can use, if you want to, if you're getting it super duper hot, right? And you're talking about searing off a thicker piece of meat, you want to use something like an avocado oil, right? That's a really good low, like it's got a high smoke point, right? But with a thinner piece of meat, you don't need as much time and you don't need as much heat to sear. So your butter should be fine, right? Lay it down in there, give it time to get a little crust on both sides, okay? Flip, flop, okay? Then, here's what you're going to do. You're going to transfer it from that pan because your pan is probably not going to be oven safe. You're going to transfer it from that pan to some Pyrex and you're going to put it in the oven, right? And you're going to put the heat for a New York strip at around 350, okay? And you are going to put some pats of butter on the top along with some fresh sliced garlic on the top, right? And then you are going to close up the oven and let that butter melt, and it's going to accumulate in the bottom of that pan. And about every 30 seconds or so, you're going to reopen that oven and you're going to use that butter and garlic mixture to baste over the top of that strip. Close it up for 30 seconds. This is a slow process, all right? You want that steak to come up to that medium rare temp, right? 135-ish, 130-ish, right? Slow. And you want it to be butter basted. So you've got that sear on it already, butter basted. And at the end, fresh salt. You don't salt your steak till the end, right? This is a common mistake. And then you let the steak rest. For a New York strip, 5 to 10 minutes. Because if you slice it right away, all that juice that you basted into it is going to run out. That's one of the things that people fuck up with when they're doing meat. A well-done steak, just bring it up to temp. Just keep butter basting longer. It's all about temp with meat, right? So if you want a well-done steak, just continue the process until the steak is like 160 inside. That's about a well done. There you go. You don't have to get crazy with it. You can put a sprig of rosemary over the steak and butter baste over the rosemary. You're butter basting, of course, over the garlic, right? So that's all part of your butter mixture. You can spruce it up with that, but you don't need to, right? How done do you like? Mid-rare. That's how I eat my steak, yeah. Mid-rare. Paul, you said the secret to mashed potatoes was sour cream and cream cheese. Yes. You don't cook on high. Yeah. Well, like I said, you want to cook high but very short to get that sear on the steak, and then you go slow and you baste it and you baby it. You baby the steak. You bring it up to temp slowly, so you're not drying it out. You don't want all that juice to run out of the steak. You don't want all that flavor to run out of the steak and leave you a tough steak. So just yeah, sour cream and a little bit of cream cheese is super killer in mashed potatoes for sure. Yeah, some pan roasted potatoes would be real good. So you have those going on your stovetop. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that'd be good. You're gonna have some kind of beans with it. Yeah, do some campfire beans or something. You know, just some like barbecue baked beans. That'd be pretty good to go with your steak. are some best sides to go with steak. I usually keep it pretty fucking simple if I'm doing steak. Whoa, that's a little bird I haven't seen before. Or is that just like a baby robin? Yeah, that's what it is. It's just a small robin. That's cute. A yellow-breasted warbler. Yeah, asparagus, Brussels sprouts are really good with steak. You could do up some cauliflower, just a good vegetable or a starch, right? Or a starch and a veggie, right? So you could do some roasted potatoes and asparagus to go with a nice New York strip. That would be a good one. You can do asparagus too if you're doing the strip on the grill, which is a little different process, but still very similar. You're going to be basting, babying it, keeping it on the cold spot of your grill, so you're bringing that temp up slow, right? You can actually do asparagus on the grill with a little bit of tin foil. You put some butter and garlic and salt in there, and you just wrap them up and put them on, you know, a little medium spot in your grill, and that butter is just going to melt and cook all that asparagus down. It's a real easy way to go. Anyway, I gotta go. I'll catch you guys some other time. Peace.